Wow, stories.
Am I the idiot for considering divorce? After my husband lied about having kids from a previous marriage. I'm a 29-year-old female, and as the title states, my husband, who is 32, lied about kids. I don't know how to proceed or where to go from here. I've always been the type of person who wanted kids, even back when I was a kid myself. I currently have a 3-year-old daughter with my husband, and I'm about 5 months pregnant with our second child. When I first met my husband, he said he didn't want a lot of kids. And even though I had wanted a big family, about 4 kids if finances and time allowed for it, I was more than happy to compromise with 2 kids. We've been married for 6 years, and I should mention that when we got together, he specifically said that he had no serious relationships before me and no kids. Turns out, that was a lie. 2 days ago, my husband got an email from a 13-year-old girl, asking why he doesn't love her but loves his new family. I only saw this email by chance and was confused. I thought it was meant for someone else until I brought it up with my husband and mentioned the address the email came from. His face went white and he broke down in tears. Turns out when my husband was 19 and in college, he got his then girlfriend pregnant, who was 17. For your information, the age of consent is 16 in our state, which resulted in the 13-year-old girl. This is not the only child they had together. After she was born, they rushed a marriage and ended up having 2 more kids, both boys, ages 11 and 9. He said he felt trapped by how close together the kids were had at, and he packed up and left when the 9-year-old was 2 months old. I'm feeling all sorts of emotions right now and don't know how to feel. I feel angry and betrayed for him for lying, hurt that he would do that to his own kids, fear that he could do it to me, and also angry that he convinced me to settle on 2 kids when he had more than that. I know it's also my fault for agreeing to settle, but I can't help feeling like he, in a sense, robbed me of those potential 2 children I could have had. I also have this weird feeling of being robbed of the chance to get to know these kids and be a stepmom to them. I know I shouldn't be hyper-focused on my feelings during this, but I can't help it. I'm only human. I don't know what my next move is. I know I should divorce my husband, but I'm worried that if I do that, he'll do the same thing and walk out on our daughter and the baby I'm pregnant with. I'm also afraid that even if we divorce and he keeps contact with the kids, he won't pay child support of any kind since, to my current knowledge, he didn't pay any support for the other 3 kids. I'm scared, angry, hurt, and I just need advice. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This is definitely divorce-worthy. Your husband is an absolute scumbag. This man lied and kept an ex-wife and 3 children from you. I mean, how could you ever trust him again? Who knows what else he could be hiding or will hide from you in the future? Even if you stayed with him, what's to say he won't suddenly feel trapped and do the same thing to you and your children one day? He lied to you and took away your ability to make an informed decision about whether to build a life with him. That's unforgivable, in my opinion. Comment 2. I'm so sorry, and I can't imagine how you are feeling right now. Is he officially divorced from his first wife? In my state, you have to check a box on the marriage license if you were ever married. He may have lied on your marriage license. It may not be valid, and I don't think your marriage would be valid if he is, in fact, still legally married to her. Edit to add, has he been paying her child support? If not, I would assume she can have him start paying through the courts. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me through all this. So, after that bombshell email, things have been a mess. I confronted my husband about everything, and he admitted to lying about his past. He said he was scared I'd leave him if I knew the truth. I was furious and told him I needed some space to think. I took our daughter and went to stay with my sister for a few days. During that time, I tried to process everything. I kept thinking about those 3 kids he left behind and how they must feel. I couldn't get that girl's email out of my head. While I was at my sister's, my husband kept calling and texting, begging for forgiveness. He said he wanted to make things right and that he was willing to do anything to fix our marriage. I didn't know what to believe. I felt so betrayed, but I also didn't want to make any rash decisions. I decided to go back home and talk things through with him. When I got back, we had a long, emotional conversation. He told me more about his past and why he left his first family. He said he was young and scared and didn't know how to handle the responsibility. He admitted that leaving them was the biggest mistake of his life. He also confessed that he had been sending money to his ex-girlfriend for the kids, but he never told me because he was ashamed. I was shocked and didn't know what to say. I felt a mix of anger and pity for him. I asked him why he lied to me about wanting more kids, and he said he was afraid of repeating the same mistakes. He thought if we had more kids, he might feel overwhelmed and leave again. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like my whole life was built on lies. We decided to go to couples therapy to try and work through our issues. The therapist suggested we take things one step at a time and focus on rebuilding trust. It was hard, but I agreed to give it a try. I didn't want to make any decisions while I was still so emotional. During one of our therapy sessions, my husband broke down and admitted that he still had feelings for his ex-girlfriend. He said he never stopped loving her, but he didn't know how to go back to her after everything that happened. I was devastated. I felt like I was losing him all over again. The therapist suggested we take a break from each other to figure out what we really wanted. I decided to stay with my sister again, and this time, I brought up the idea of meeting his other kids. I felt like I needed to know them, especially since they were a part of my husband's life. He was hesitant at first, but he eventually agreed. We set up a meeting with his ex-girlfriend and the kids at a park. The meeting was awkward and emotional. The kids were shy and didn't know what to say. His ex-girlfriend was polite but distant. I could tell she was still hurt by what happened. My husband tried to make small talk, but it was clear that he was struggling. I felt a strange mix of emotions. I was angry at him for putting us all in this situation, but I also felt a connection to those kids. They were a part of him, and in a way, a part of me too. After the meeting, I couldn't stop thinking about the kids. I wanted to be a part of their lives, but I didn't know how to make it work. I talked to my sister about it, and she suggested I take things slow and see how it goes. I decided to reach out to his ex-girlfriend and see if we could set up regular visits. She was hesitant at first, but she agreed to give it a try. Over the next few weeks, I started spending more time with the kids. We went to the park, had picnics, and even went to a few of their school events. It was hard at first, but we slowly started to bond. I could see the pain in their eyes and broke my heart. I wanted to make things right for them, even if I couldn't fix the past. Meanwhile, my husband and I continued therapy. It was pretty hard on us, of emotions. Some days I felt like we were making progress, and other days I wanted to walk away. I couldn't shake the feeling that he still had feelings for his ex-girlfriend. I confronted him about it, and he admitted that he was still confused. He said he loved me, but he didn't know if he could ever fully let go of his past. I decided to take a step back and focus on myself and the kids. I needed to figure out what I wanted and what was best for my family. I started seeing a therapist on my own to help me process everything. It was hard, but I knew I needed to take care of myself. One day, while I was at the park with the kids, my husband showed up unexpectedly. He looked different, more determined. He told me he had been doing a lot of thinking and that he wanted to make things right. He said he was willing to do whatever it took to rebuild our marriage and be a better father to all of his kids. I could see the sincerity in his eyes, but I was still hesitant. We decided to take things one day at a time. We continued therapy and started working on our communication. It wasn't easy, but we slowly started to rebuild our trust. I could see the effort he was putting in, and it gave me hope. As for his ex-girlfriend, we had a long talk about everything. She told me about their relationship and how things fell apart. She said she still had feelings for him, but she didn't want to get in the way of our marriage. I appreciated her honesty, and we agreed to focus on co-parenting the kids. It's been a tough journey, but we're slowly finding our way. I'm still hurt and angry, but I'm also hopeful. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm willing to give it a try.